I take a class with my sister on Tuesday nights, and I had some time before class. I was sitting in the parking lot, and I had some time to flip through the um, art of Andy Smith. I ended up being a little bit late for the class because I just could not stop flipping until I'd flipped them all, and my sister was pissed off. Um, it was a lot like going back in time to a time when superheroes were cool. Um, Andy Smith was born to draw superheroes. The form and I don't know. I don't know enough about art to use the right words, but the form and the style, the heroic style, the heroic pose. These are things that come very, very naturally to Andy. Um, it was a complete nostalgic ride for me, because I saw. I mean, I don't read superhero comics anymore. I don't read anything um, from the mainstream. Um, I read old comics. I like the periods of the 30s, the 70s, and the 90s, and that's late 30s, early 40s, and that's kind of where I focus my attention these days. But I don't read current comics. But just flipping through the art book took me back to a time when these heroes were friggin' huge. They were larger than life, and they popped off the page. I remember being a kid. I think I talked about this on an earlier video back when I would buy comics at the Village bookstore and the 7-Eleven off the spinner racks. And, at that time, um, the cover artist was Neil Adams, because Neil Adams, maybe better than anybody ever, understood that a cover has one purpose: to make it so you absolutely, positively have to see what's going on inside the book. You are frigging dying to find out what's going on in that book, and that's what the cover's for. And Neil Adams, he would put images on a cover that were so tantalizing and so it raised so many questions, like what the hell is going on. And his heroes popped. They popped right off the page. And that's kind of the mood I was in, and the mindset that I found myself in the whole time I was looking through the art of Andy Smith. And of course, it would go without I go without. I would be amiss or remiss if I didn't point out that I absolutely marked out like a number one fanboy when I got to the pages with Ultra Boy and Mon-El, my absolute two favorite Legionnaires. Um, Long live the Legion, Legion forever. Um, nothing to take away from the great Legion artists of the day. Dave Cockrum, and even more so Mike friggin' Grell. He's the GOAT in my book. Um, but in that moment, I could only imagine what would that era of Legion lore have been like if Andy Smith had been doing the art. It would have been dynamic. So really enjoyed the art of Andy Smith. This is not to be confused with Nice and Tight. That's a whole different book, and I'll talk about that on some other video. But the art of Andy Smith was an absolute joyride through an era when I was a kid and when I looked at comics the way a kid looks at comics, and that's why I was late to class. This has been Tom Tuttle.